Lucas, what's the significance of this deal? Do you think this means that we're going to see more YouTube channels merge with platforms, other traditional TV networks even?
You know, it could mean some light at the end of the tunnel for some of these channels. We went through a wave of consolidation and deals a few years ago where a lot of traditional media companies who were nervous that they were losing kind of relevance among young viewers scooped up what were called multi-channel networks, or MCNs, which were these networks or companies that had consolidated thousands of different YouTube channels, and they paid in some cases hundreds of millions of dollars, and most of these deals didn't work out too well for traditional media companies. But the fact that this popular channel for kids can still sell may bode well for a bunch of other channels that are still out there and wondering what their exit's going to be. Life on YouTube, to the point about that data, is not easy for a lot of these creators.
Right. What's interesting is that YouTube sales have skyrocketed, but it's getting rougher and rougher for these creators. I mean, was there a change in their advertising policy or algorithms that really caused this change?
I just think it's kind of what happens inevitably with these big online tech platforms. If you think about it with Google, with YouTube, with Facebook, they are designed to make money for those companies. Facebook makes a ton of money from the fact that it has all of these news publishers on the site. But most publishers, they don't get money from Facebook. It's mostly a way of marketing or to make people aware that you exist. And it's kind of the same on YouTube. And so what you've seen with a lot of companies that built their business on YouTube is they've had to shift their strategy. YouTube is still very important, and in some cases the most important platform for a lot of companies. But more than anything, it's a way of kind of engaging with your audience rather than making money from your audience. And you monetize your audience elsewhere. You sell merchandise, you sell books, maybe you sell subscriptions, which is something that YouTube has enabled recently.
And what does this say about the huge market for kids on YouTube? I mean, I was just looking at one of their popular nursery rhyme compilations, and it had 2.1 billion views. What's driving this crazy growth? Kids are raised now with the smartphone in their hand, or a lot of kids are. You've seen in traditional TV, the viewership for Nickelodeon, for Disney Channel, for Cartoon Network, for all these kids-focused networks has fallen off a cliff because more kids are not growing up watching cable TV, they're growing up watching video on the internet. And I think YouTube is the biggest player there. For all the attention that Netflix gets, for young kids in particular, YouTube is irresistible. The videos are small, you can watch them, they're short, you can watch them over and over again. It's free, it's just very easy to watch, which is why YouTube has a whole dedicated app for kids, and why there occasionally have been scandals when you've had kind of ads that you certainly wouldn't want a kid to see show in YouTube Kids. Do we know how big this deal was?
Pretty small. I mean, it's an individual channel, so we're not talking couple $100 million. I think we're talking single digits. But for one channel that's maintained by just a few people, that's still pretty good.